will most likely get hit with a charge. I think another major point of contention is someone referred to as cooling off period, because if I recall correctly, Anthony went to his backpack to get his knife after Metcalf put hands on him. This differs from a traditional self-defense case where the person who killed the other had the on their person and initial aggression occurred. Yeah, but I think there are definitely instances where you can, like, one, we don't know what happened afterwards. I'm totally making this up right now. In a hypothetical situation, there's an initial confrontation. He goes to his bag and he gets this, I don't even know if it's a knife, but it's a object that you can clearly stab someone to death with, whatever, the sharp object. And then he comes back and he sees him again, and the interaction basically restarts. In that process, there is still self-defense, an argument you can make for self-defense. It was a cleat sharpener for sports cleats. Yeah, that's what I thought it was. Anyway, let's continue.
Even if you justified to take a life, your life wasn't in danger. Karmelo was wrong, dead wrong. In the witness accounts of what he said, he grabbed the book bag. Let me tell black people how dumb y'all is. Don't you know they got a police report with the evidence of a knife and not a cleat sharpener? There's no such thing as a cleat sharpener. They have evidence, a police report where they confiscated a knife. How dumb can y'all be? And black people, y'all don't have no compassion for a parent who have to bury their child. Y'all haven't extended no level of empathy for another dead kid. Black people, I hate that this.
Want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
Hey. Why this beat so cold?
We will make America proud again. And you try to kill our We will make America wealthy again. And yes, together, we will make America great again.
Oh boy, what a video we have for y'all today. What's going on, family? I hope everybody is blessed, well, healthy, and that nothing but the best is going on in all you beautiful people's life, man. One love to the human race. All lives matter. And I'm gonna say it again just because I know it's gonna trigger somebody. Somebody. Especially the black community. The BLM scam. All lives matter. Yeah. And thank y'all for all the love and support in these previous videos, man. As you know, we break everything that's happening with this case. We're staying up to date, bringing some of the best updates, man. Keeping it real, not sugarcoating it, calling it for what it is, right and wrong, you know. And we send our prayers, love, and condolences out. It's a disgrace how they're attacking the Metcalf family. The dad didn't want to make this thing about race. We've seen a full-blown race war. How they politicize this thing. It's ridiculous, man. The other family acting like, you know, like they lost their son, playing victim. And Austin should still be alive to this day, man. But, you know, decisions, man. And you got to live and die behind your decisions. One decision, you know. And this is why I tell parents, please stay involved. Keep being amazing leaders and mentors. Right from wrong. Common sense. Please be involved. Check on your kids. Check on them. Ask them how everything's going. Check on their mental health. I'm telling you, it's serious, man. It's the little things, man. The little things. But all lives matter, man. I know they call, you know, like I said in previous videos, they called me racist for saying that. All lives matter, man. Again, don't give a damn what your skin color is, where you're from, what you believe in, what you look like, what you smell like. I do not care. If you're a liberal, conservative, Democrat, Republican, I'm wishing the best in everybody's life, man, on this earth, in this fast time travel that we live in, man. You know, and it's pretty crazy how this is blown up everywhere, how people feel about it, how the black communities are just a disgrace with this and the BLM scam, you know. And even if they know, and I got people there, people admitting that he was wrong, but saying, I don't care. I'm tired of white people. I hate white people. Like, what? And go read some of the donations on that fund. that they have. Go read the message donations of what they're saying, of how hatred people are how hatred black people are towards white people. It's actually pretty sick, man. It is sick what they're saying in underneath those donations. They'll like leave $5 or $10 or $100 and put a message donation, and then underneath that you can like it. And there were even people putting like 50 to 120, 200 likes on some of these disgusting racist comments, man. It's sad. We're living in some sad times, man. We really are. You know. But tons of you guys sent me this video a couple hours ago. I decided I'll just check it out and react to it and have a little video on the show today. You know. But some idiot streamer made things worse for Karmelo Anthony. So let's see what is going on. And Liberal Hive Mind usually never disappoints with any video. So I'm gonna get a sip of this GM40. Cheers, cheers, cheers. That GM40 right there, boy. That's that Shine 40. That's that Moonshine 40 right there. Yeah, buddy.
Definition of a grifter, or I guess the cost of being audience captured. There's a dangerous disease that seems to be rotting the brains of modern internet commentators, and that disease is called audience capture. It's when somebody becomes so dependent on the approval of their radical fan base that they stop thinking entirely. They stop telling the truth. Their worldview becomes no longer based in the facts, common sense, or principles. No, it becomes based around placating to the demands of the mob. Whatever the hive mind wants, well, that's what they get. Whatever's popular in the echo chamber, the online celebrity repeats. And really, I feel as though this has become the norm on the modern left, especially the extreme left. And the one person who exemplifies this concept the best is none other than Hasan Piker, or otherwise known as Cenk Uyghur's nephew. And it's also why guys like Hasan Piker always end up looking like complete fools pushing the dumbest argument you will ever hear. Because clearly, these individuals are no longer telling the truth. They're essentially ideological prisoners captured by their radical audience base. And nowhere is this more obvious than in Hasan's reaction, or his half-baked defense of Karmelo Anthony in the stabbing case. Yeah, it's pretty much as bad as you might expect, maybe even worse. Let me show you guys exactly what's going on here. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so you guys thought that Tim Pool's take on Karmelo Anthony was bad, right? Well, it's nothing in comparison to...
I remember the Tim Pool take, and then Tim came out and had to retract and rethink and change his opinion on this entire situation with, you know, Karmelo Anthony, Austin Metcalf. You know, I know he got a lot of backlash from a lot of people. You know, I believe he came out and said that that this was good, that, you know, this was self-defense. And then he read the full police report and read everything, and then he came back out and said, I don't think this was this is not self-defense. So again, if you know, you know, but let's continue.
Hasan's take, and you know what, at least Tim's honest. He may have had a bad moment in his analysis of the Karmelo situation, but at least he's intellectually honest and malleable. You know, since that initial take, he's processed new information, and most importantly, it seems as though he's altered his position, and you gotta give him absolute credit for that. But you know who isn't intellectually honest? Yeah, this guy, Hasan Piker, possibly the biggest fraud in the online political commentary space. A man who...
Hasan. I've seen him a couple times. I'm not really too familiar. Let me know how y'all feel about him in the comment section down below. Some of y'all might be like, hell, I don't know who the hell he is. Some of y'all might do. Please let me know in the comment section.
Whose entire personality is built on cosplaying as a leftist revolutionary while he lives in Beverly Hills and is a literal trust fund baby, driving around in his $200,000 Porsche wearing full designer from head to toe. Your typical LA trust fund baby that LARPs as a Marxist. Not to mention he's a complete Nepo baby who's essentially built his entire platform riding the coattails of his uncle Cenk Uyghur, who as we know is the owner of TYT. But anyways, Hasan Piker is the poster child for audience capture, and he just did a segment reacting to the Karmelo Anthony stabbing, and he had this one take that literally makes my head hurt. It might be the most pathetic thing that I think this guy has ever said. Just take a look at this.
He will most likely get hit with a charge. I think another major point of contention is someone referred to as cooling off period, because if I recall correctly, Anthony went to his backpack to get his knife after Metcalf put hands on him. This differs from a traditional self-defense case where the person who killed the other had the on their person and initial aggression occurred. Yeah, but I think there are definitely instances where you can, like, one, we don't know what happened afterwards. I'm totally making this up right now. In a hypothetical situation, there's an initial confrontation. He goes to his bag and he gets this. I don't even know if it's a knife, but it's a object that you can clearly stab someone to death with. Whatever, the sharp object. And then he comes back and he sees him again, and the interaction basically restarts. In that process, there is still self-defense. An argument you can make for self-defense. It was a cleat sharpener for sports cleats. Yeah, that's what I thought it was. Anyway, let's continue.
And whether or not he
A cleat sharpener. A cleat sharpener. You know, like I told you, I've been in this environment with what these young gentlemen were in, man. Just a couple years ago, I was a varsity football star athlete, track star athlete. You know, I'm trying to think because I used to have a lot of those. What they call them, spikes? What they call them, shoes, man. But I had a couple pair of them because, you know, we had to run track in those. You know, that's the only way you could run track. You had to have your spikes. I think that's what they called it. But I do not remember having no cleat sharpener for my spikes. I'm just saying. I don't remember you ever using one, seeing one. I think they did have one, but I don't think it was something like a knife. Again, but the report says a knife. A knife. I mean, I don't. It's like we're explaining this to little children at this point, man. It's honestly pretty sad, y'all. And I know it didn't give a lot of y'all a headache, man. You know, out of all the what the report says, and then what the outsiders are saying, what the witnesses are saying, what somebody over here is saying, you know, a lot of misinformation in this case, man, and it's a disgrace. It really is.
So you have a viewer that mentions an interesting point, specifically about the cooling off period, where Karmelo Anthony seemingly walked away from the confrontation, took a step back only to reach into his bag, grab a knife or a sharp object. And so basically the idea is that the break in that engagement means that the self-defense claim essentially dies. You're not allowed to re-enter a fight and escalate it. Under Texas law section 9.31b4, if you provoke or re-initiate conflict, you lose the right to claim self-defense unless you clearly withdraw and the other person attacks anyways. But mega brain legal analyst Hasan doesn't acknowledge that, no, and clearly frustrated and stammering in the moment, he responds with a thorough debunking. I mean, you could tell that he's being intellectually dishonest and just pulling things out of his behind because of how long it took him, how much he was stuttering to come up with something to say. He took in that information and then you could tell he's just like, okay, well, how do I twist this now? And he comes up with the genius take essentially that, well, the situation resets upon re-engagement. Resets? What is this, a Call of Duty match? What the hell does that even freaking mean? We're not playing a video game. There isn't a reset mechanic after you disengage and then re-engage. You know, the re-engagement is literally the issue. That's the reason why Karmelo is in trouble. Or that's the reason why his self-defense claim is in trouble, and, well, one of the myriad of reasons. Coming back into the confrontation instead of disengaging if he was really fearful for his life and then stabbing a kid in the heart. Clearly, it's murder. And Hasan obviously knows that, but he doesn't care.
I feel like a lot of leftists don't care. I'm just saying, hey, I feel like a lot of leftists, and we see this a lot with the black community, and again, a lot of the black community leans more towards the left. And one thing that they hate, man, is accountability. But the one thing that they really, really love and propose and, you know, incite for is violence. Violence. Violence, violence, violence. But no accountability. You know? And they don't care that somebody lost their life. They don't care. They don't care that it was a murder. They don't care. And now it's self-defense. And he's a hero. And we're praising a hero and praising them and celebrating them and giving them all kind of money. The money and funds could be used and benefited somewhere else, way other problems and issues that we have to help others. But no, for the murderer, somebody that killed somebody else, that did an unaliving, huh? The times we're living in, man, I tell you, boy, that's what they do, man. That's what they do. That's what they love and to celebrate and praise someone for. You know, same with what these activist leftists are doing now, and they want the murderers and rapists, and you know, they want them to be in the country, to walk in the communities, turn the plane back around mid-flight, bring them back here to the U.S. It all piggybacks off each other, man. What we're seeing in this country, and it's actually sad, man. It really is. We're living in some dark times, y'all. Some of the darkest times. A lot of you guys say the end times, and I see it. It's a disgrace, man. I feel like we need a whole reset. Just reset everything, man. A disgrace, man. They've turned God's name into a money laundering scam. And pretty much everything we live for, it's been a complete scam. The American scam. You know, you just can't win. I feel like you just can't win, man. You know, you just can't win, especially with these sad, pathetic people that we live amongst. You just can't win with these people, man. You just can't win.
And so he tries to redefine the whole concept around re-engagement in a way to make it seem as if, no, he definitely has a case for self-defense. Because obviously this clown is not trying to be right, he's trying to be liked by his chat of radical Redditor communists. And it gets even worse towards the end of that clip. You could tell that this guy is literally just placating to the leftist audience. Because then, without even a thought in the world, he just fully accepts the idea that was then presented to him that actually, Karmelo didn't even have a knife. No, it was wait for it, a cleat sharpener. And this right here is where the stupidity reaches Olympic levels. A cleat sharpener. I've been hearing all kinds of people saying that. That's the latest moving of the goalpost in this ridiculous defense of Karmelo Anthony. And so I've been curious, cleat sharpener, what does that look like? And so I've been trying to look it up across the internet. And I can't seem to find any product that's labeled a cleat sharpener. And apparently I'm not the only one. I stumbled upon this video when I was attempting to look for this elusive cleat sharpener.
Does a cleat sharpener exist? I'm either stupid or being gaslit. Everyone said to Google it, so of course I did. First page.
I tell y'all, I don't remember ever using or seeing a cleat. I just don't remember it. As a track star athlete, I was a track athlete. I ran the 100, 200, the 400. I did the shot put. You know, we had to run on the track almost every single day. After the, I'm just saying, I never seen a cleat sharp.
Of Google, I see absolutely nothing of relevance. I go to images. These top two things could be something. They could be something. Let's look more into them. We have a knife sharpening tool, which, why would he have that? And then we have a gardening tool. Then ironically enough, if you go to videos, a video I made 2 hours ago pops up. That's how bad the SEO on this tool is. And if it was for soccer, soccer's the most popular sport literally ever, there would be more information. The way people describe it is like a giant nail file for sharpening cleats or spikes. So is it something like this? And again, the more important question is, who is reporting that it was a cleat sharpener? Where did this information come from? Did it come?
The ones that think it's self-defense. The ones that think Karmelo Anthony's a hero. They can't tell you the truth with anything. The ones that think Kamala Harris should be president and that Joe Biden was as sharp as a tack. The ones that think I ain't even gonna say that. I'm not even gonna say that on camera. I'm just saying though. They say Rick, you shouldn't have said none of that. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry, man. But it's these leftists, man, that spread all this misinformation. They praise the killers, the illegal gang members. You know, these are their heroes, man. These are their heroes. They don't care about the grieving family. They wiped the grieving family through the mud. They can't even grieve. They wiped the father through the mud. Sad, man. It's, it's all piggybacking off each other, man. We're seeing the exact same things, man. I didn't want to make this about politics, but I'm just saying, from what I cover on this channel, from politics to breaking news to seeing how everything plays out in the world, everything relates back to each other, man. And it's just sad and pathetic, you know. People have no common sense, you know. They don't even, they can't show any love or have any heart, any sympathy for the victim, the family, the victim of the family, man. You know, the victim's family. Hopefully I'm saying it right, because I'm all over the place with my words right now. But nothing for the victim's family, man. It's sad, man. And I get called a racist for saying all lives matter. I just don't get it.
From the police? Did it come from a witness? Did it come from Karmelo Anthony's camp? What is the origin of the claim that it was a cleat sharpener? I'm not joking. I'm not being facetious. I'm not being sarcastic. I'm genuinely asking.
Yeah, it seems as though it literally doesn't exist. And also, I've been looking at track and field shoes, the cleats, and I've realized that you don't actually sharpen the cleats. You replace the spikes. The spikes are screwed on at the bottom, and you could basically screw them off, and there's a tool that I found.
Yep, I remember that. I remember that right there. I think I only used it once, though. Because I had like 3 pairs.
That allows you to do that. So basically, when the spike on the cleat goes dull, you screw it off and replace it with a new one. And I even found this comment here where this person says that they used to run track, and he writes, cleat sharpeners are not a thing. You unscrew the spikes, and then when they're dull, you screw new ones in. That's it. And so if you do literally 2 seconds of research, you very quickly come to the conclusion that the likelihood that he didn't have a knife, but rather a cleat sharpener, well, it seems rather unlikely. But of course, Hasan's not interested in any of that. No, he's just spinning lies and accepting whatever the radical leftist take on the situation is. Hasan's just gonna run with it without a freaking thought, without any pushback. And really the dumbest part is that whether it was a knife or a cleat sharpener doesn't even change anything. Because obviously they're making that argument in defense of Karmelo. Well, he didn't actually bring a knife to a school event because obviously that would be illegal. No, it was just a cleat sharpener. And I guess the claim is that that completely absolves him of guilt. But bringing a knife to a school event on school grounds isn't the only legal trouble that Karmelo's in. That was claim to self-defense.
I feel like some really that knew this was he was in the wrong. Again, they want to spread these false misinformation. As soon as they heard, oh, he bought a weapon on school property, a knife, they want to change it. They're so quick to, oh no, it could have been a cleat sharpener. They're running track. They're blaming the rain. I mean, all kind of stuff. But that's how you know he was in the wrong. That's how you know what this really was. Right from wrong. And a lot of people know that. And some just don't want to admit it. Some just they have turned this into the race card. Racial. They made it racial. And they're saying the hell with white people and the white family. Sad times we're living in, man. Sad times. And I got to stand behind my black brother. Because he's a hero. It was self-defense.
Is running into all kinds of issues because under state law, it's not just about the object or the possession of a deadly weapon on school grounds. It's about intent and escalation. You don't get a pass for stabbing someone just because the weapon wasn't technically a knife. Now, the Texas Penal Code is crystal clear. If you re-engage, that's a problem. If you provoke the fight, that's also a problem. Section 9.31. The use of force is not justified if the actor provoked the other's use or attempted use of force, or if the actor was engaged in criminal activity at the time the force was used. And so likely he screwed on both counts because I don't think it was a cleat sharpener. I think it was a knife. In other words, he was engaged in criminal activity at the time, and he provoked by telling Austin Metcalf, touch me and see what happens. Not to mention the re-engagement issue. The kid's screwed across the board unless the video evidence shows us something wildly different than what's in the police report. But obviously Hasan doesn't care about any of this because he's just spinning lies. He's too scared to tell the truth. You could just tell by the way he speaks, his body language, He knows that his audience has emotionally latched onto this free Karmelo narrative, and so he's just going along with the grift. And that's why he's caught looking all awkward, looking practically incoherent, coming up with these ridiculous half-baked legal theories, promoting fake evidence, and pretending that every element of this story is now actually up for debate when I think for the most part it clearly isn't. This right here is textbook grifting, saying things you clearly don't believe just to cash in and to generate the clout. That's what this is. Hasan isn't interested in the truth. He's interested in keeping his little socialist simp satisfied. Oh, speaking of satisfying, that was a very satisfying little alliteration there. But anyways, it's obvious. Even people like Anna Kasparian, who's known this guy forever, have basically said the same thing, that he is terrified of his audience, and so he just says what they want to hear. He doesn't actually think.
Hasan is a slave to his audience. I've never seen a man more terrified of the people who watch his streams. I would never be jealous of that.
An absolutely brutal indictment from somebody who's known him, and clearly it seems to track with his behavior on stream. This, my friends, is the definition of a grifter. And I think for anybody with the ability to critically think, it's plainly obvious what's going on here. Anyways, that's pretty much.
Yeah, we see that a lot with a lot of these people, man. A whole lot. A lot of these frauds and fakes, man. You know. But I want to send my love and prayers out to all you guys. I want to send my love and prayers out to my condolences out to the Metcalf family. You know, we'll let this thing play out. Like y'all said, let it play out. You know, let everything play out. You know how it's gonna play out, man. God has the final say. I love every last one of y'all, man. One love to the human race. All lives matter. You know, whether you like that or not, that's the motto on this channel, man. One love to the human race. God bless you all, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace and love, family.